What's up, geeks and gamers? It's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today, well, it's another day. There's another movie, and another director leaves while Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of the project. Literally no one is surprised, because this is pretty much standard operating procedure for Kathleen Kennedy since she became the president of Lucasfilm. This is kind of what happens when you hire a glorified secretary to do the job that she's not qualified for. So congratulations with that. But this time it's a little different. This time we're talking about Steven Spielberg leaving the project, which is the most celebrated director in the history of Hollywood. And he has always been the director of Indiana Jones films. And yet here he is walking away. Now, again, Spielberg does attach himself to a lot of projects and then ultimately hands the reins off to someone else. This is not outside of, the realm of possibilities for Steven Spielberg. It's not. But when you look at Kathleen Kennedy's track record, when you look at the fact that almost everything that this woman has been directly involved in has problems from a creative standpoint, from a scheduling standpoint, from a directorial standpoint, everything she touches seems to have problems. And now we have Spielberg walking away from a franchise that he has always taken the directorial job on. This woman's terrible. This woman is absolutely horrible at her job, yet she continues to keep it. Nice job. Anyway, let's get into it. So after a long development process, Steven Spielberg is handing the directing reins on Indiana Jones 5 to another filmmaker for the first time in the franchise's 39-year history, Variety has learned. Sources say, while a deal hasn't closed, Ford vs. Ferrari director James Mangold is in talks to take the job. Mangold has been put in this situation before when he took over the Wolverine franchise. 2017's Logan was a blockbuster, grossing $619 million globally and earning Mangold an Oscar nomination for adapted screenplay. Now, before we get into it any further, I will just say, based on recent track record, I actually think if Mangold does sign on, I think he's a far better option than Spielberg. And I'm not a Spielberg hater. Again, this man is the most celebrated director in the history of Hollywood. No one can match his resume. But in the recent years, I did like Ready Player One. But outside of Ready Player One, what has Spielberg really done? He hasn't really done anything that's really been a big deal in the last several years. So outside of Ready Player One, nothing that I can remember. So it just seems like maybe Spielberg has lost a touch a little bit. Maybe. I don't know, but Mangold has proven himself, and Ford vs. Ferrari was my favorite film of last year. Fantastic movie. Absolutely fantastic. So I think Mangold is amazing, and I loved Logan as well. It says Spielberg will remain as hands-on producer of Indy 5, according to a source. Their sources are better than your sources, by the way. Close to the filmmaker. The decision to lead the director's chair was entirely Spielberg's, in a desire to pass along Indy's whip to a new generation to bring their perspective to the story. Harrison Ford, meanwhile, is still on the project for now. The actor recently made headlines. Yeah, he was talking about they were going to start filming in a few months, and then he says, well, we've got some scheduling issues and a few script things, and we're determined to get it right before we make it. And it says, when Disney first announced the new Indiana Jones film in 2016 with Spielberg directing and Ford starring, the studio originally slated the film to open on July 19th, 2019. Then it was pushed back a year to July 10th, 2020. Then delayed again to July 9th, 2021, when Jonathan Kasdan was brought on to take a pass on the script after original screenwriter David Koepp left the project. What a disastrous situation here. So you've delayed it 3 times. You're now changing directors. And we're just supposed to just not hold Kathleen Kennedy responsible for this when it's happened in every single film that she's been involved in. Every single film has these problems. Every one. It's ridiculous. With a new director coming on board and the possibility of Indy 5 will be pushed back once more from its 2021 release date seems likely. Spokespeople for Spielberg and Disney declined to comment. This was already going to be a busy year for Spielberg, that's just a bunch of blah, 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 blah. And so there's no more details to that. Again, how many delays are we going to go through? How many failures is this woman going to have before they get fire this woman? Fire her 5 years ago. She should have never gotten the job in the first place, but here we are. Maybe this new CEO for Disney, Bob Chapek, maybe Chapek's going to do it. I doubt it, but my God, like, this woman continues to fail over and over and over. Now you got Indiana Jones 5 that was announced back in 2016. Again, just so we're clear, when Disney first announced the new Indiana Jones film in 2016, all right, we are in 2020. The film hasn't even started filming yet, and we've lost a director, and it's been delayed 3 times, and it's probably going to be delayed again. How many times can I be right? I don't know. How many times? Again, I will never stop calling Kathleen Kennedy out. I will never stop until she is held accountable for the bad job that she has done. How many times is it going to happen? This woman is a disaster, a complete and total disaster. Finally, I guess Spielberg now, he's finally like, you know what? You did great bringing me coffee, but I can't work for you anymore because you're horrible. I am not directing this movie because this movie is a disaster. Even Spielberg is done with her. Unbelievable. But that is where we're at. Again, just to be clear, I do think Mangold is a great choice if he in fact signs on. But that does not take away from the fact that we have delayed this movie 3 times, probably going to be 4. We've lost a director, and it's consistent with Kathleen Kennedy's job at Lucasfilm. Director after director after director, creative differences after creative differences after creative differences, a disaster of a Disney trilogy that was produced, lost another trilogy, not a movie. We're talking about a trilogy. Benioff and Weiss, they didn't quit a movie. Not a movie. They quit a trilogy. And of course, our favorite round-headed one himself, Rian Johnson, who, before The Last Jedi, Kathleen Kennedy, in all of her wisdom, decided to sign Rian Johnson on for a trilogy. And here we are, 3 years later, and no trilogy is being produced by Rian Johnson. So Kathleen Kennedy has ruined one trilogy. She's lost another, or she's lost 2 others now, officially 1 other, and they can't even make an announcement on Rian Johnson's. What is going on here? Like, why aren't people in Hollywood calling this out? Why aren't big sites like Variety and The Hollywood Reporter, why aren't they calling this out? You announced Rian Johnson's trilogy right before The Last Jedi came out. In late 2017, if I'm not mistaken. Late 2017, you announced Rian Johnson's trilogy. Here we are in 2020, and nothing has happened with an officially announced trilogy. Not a movie. We're talking about a trilogy. Nothing. No movement whatsoever. Benioff and Weiss quit. Not a movie. We're talking about a trilogy. And now here we are with Indiana Jones 5 being delayed not once, not twice, but 3 times. Potentially a 4th time. We're losing. We've already lost a director in Steven Spielberg. And we don't have another director officially on yet. This woman is terrible. Thank you very much for checking out this video. Solo lost money. Raylos are weird. Kathleen Kennedy is garbage. I apologize to garbage, but that's all I can think about saying at the moment. Anyway, you guys have a great day, and we will talk to you later.